On today's episode, we have Kelly Magill, an 8th-generation Tennessean who is producing a documentary on the Tennessee Maneuvers, an overlooked part of World War II training. And the takeaway from what I saw from our conversation today is, true to my heart, logistics plays a big role.
I knew you were going to pick up on that. And of course, it was at the very beginning. I was like, oh, his heart language.
War is a majority logistics game. If you don't have supplies, if you don't have food, if you don't have ammunition, if you don't have personnel, like, you literally cannot run a war machine. And it's fascinating that Tennessee, because of the similarities of the landscape, the topography of what this state has, is similar to Germany and France, that Tennessee had to be the place where logistics said, all right, we got to deal with slopes and hills and streams and all the things that you would see in that same space. So definitely my logistics heart appreciated that Tennessee played such an important role in
Well, it was
World
a
War II.
double whammy, right? It was logistics and leadership. And I think from our stance, from looking back at World War II, we've read countless novels, we've taken countless classes, but I think it's really hard to remember we were underdogs because we have this sense of victory in hindsight, but how that could have turned out very differently. And when she was talking about how young our generals were and how they had never fought this way and the newness of the equipment, I was really shocked because I hadn't thought about that perspective before.
I think we spend a lot of time as Americans just believing, rightfully so, that we are the overwhelming favorite. But just like in football, when you have a team that comes in and is just the overwhelming favorite, a 4-touchdown favorite, it's hard to get up for those games. And that's why you look and see letdown games happen. And I think America can be vulnerable to moments like that, where rather than the pride swell of we can do it and we will do it, it's almost like, well, we're supposed to and we're expected to. And I think we're suffering from that to some degree in where our culture sits.
I thought it was interesting when she talked about the 1-2 punch of being attacked and having a peacetime draft, and how that really birthed the greatest generation, that they didn't choose that was thrust upon them. And her hypothesis was that if our country was ever faced with that 1-2 punch again, we might see a similar response. And I was sitting here, I don't know that that's inaccurate, but it's so, I would never wish that upon our nation, right? And so I just felt like that was so similar to all the hard things that happen in life, personal, business, whatever it is you never wish those hard things on yourself, but what comes out of it can be truly intense and scary, but also wonderful.